Hi, I'm in Orlando, Florida right now at my conference, and I've been keeping up with the discussion post on Johnny and the DUI case. And I had a few ideas I wanted to share with you. I see that there are still some posts coming in, and I think there are some questions that are still left outstanding. Now, when I presented the case to you originally, I also asked that you consider a few possible changes to the scenario. One of those being, did it matter when and where these flyers were being distributed? Also, does it matter to what extent Johnny includes some of his own thoughts, writing on the flyer, including a call to action, anything along those sorts of lines? And you've responded to those questions, but I want to reframe the way you're thinking about it just a bit and see if this changes at all how you approach Johnny. When we consider one of the most important elements of providing an education, oftentimes the first thing that comes up is teaching children how to become responsible adults that work within a democracy, citizenship. And of course, that includes not only those responsibilities that come with citizenship, but also those rights and privileges that come with citizenship. And of course, free speech is one of those. So when we think about in our communities in general, the idea that at its heart, at its most pure, free speech is the ability to go down to the center square and to be able to share information, to share not just ideas, but even just to share information with each other. The cornerstone of the freedom of the press, as it's evolved in a very different way from sitting at the center of town and verbally sharing ideas. But still, that is essentially what the First Amendment is about. So, change that to a school context. We know that while children do not shed their constitutional rights when they enter a school, they are also limited into how they can express those constitutional rights. And school officials have fairly broad authority to do that, to the extent that they're trying to ensure the safety of children or the safe and productive working of the school, the educational environment. So, back to Johnny. Is he doing, and keep in mind I'm playing devil's advocate here, is he doing anything but going to the center of town, in this case the lunchroom, and sharing information? And whether or not that causes a disruption, the essential right that he has to do that may be so valuable that that disruption is necessary to protect Johnny's right to free speech. Something for you to consider. Also, is it really Johnny that's causing the disruption? Now keep in mind, I'm going to be advocating for Johnny in this video here, and I'm looking for you to either agree with me or provide some compelling arguments against it. Is it really Johnny that's causing the disruption, or can we make the argument that it's the teacher that's causing the disruption? And is Johnny, simply by sharing that information, the one who should be punished? And punishment was something that actually came up in the post. The other thing is, there seemed to be some disagreement about how you'd react if Johnny provided some of his own ideas. But what if Johnny was distributing this and included a written passage or even verbally the idea that this teacher should be fired, that this teacher has abdicated his trust with the community and his trust with the students, that they don't respect him, that he's not a role model, and that the school can't rightly teach character while at the same time employing people that, in Johnny's opinion, have shown that they lack the character of community leadership. It's an aggressive opinion, but does he have a right to that opinion? And does he have a right to share that opinion during non-instructional time? You've talked about, well, this would be different if it happened off campus. Well, what if it happened on buses? What if it happened electronically? What if the student sets up a web page? Does that automatically, by taking it out of the school environment, take it away from your responsibility to address? Well, legally, there's surely a difference, but what about from a leadership standpoint? I want you to consider those a little bit more carefully and try to push the envelope on this. To what extent can Johnny continue to press his point? And to what extent do you have a responsibility not only to the teacher and the safe working and the productive working in the school, but also to Johnny? And what if I make the argument that understanding how to work through a messy situation like this, the kind of messy situation that free speech sometimes brings to a community, that learning how to work through that as a community of students, teachers, parents, and school leaders, is exactly the kind of learning opportunity that your school was created to teach? Well, I encourage you to disagree with me if that's how you feel, and bring that to the discussion board. And if you agree with me, to tell me why, and put that on the discussion board as well. I'll be continuing to follow all of your comments. Look forward to hearing what you have to say. To the extent that we don't play this out in the discussion board to its natural end, we'll bring it back into the classroom when I return from Orlando. Thanks.